Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am the Motorcycle Rescuer and this is Motorcycle Rescuer. So yes, welcome back. I know the last few videos I've been focusing on specific bikes, but you have to play clever with this stuff. The next bike that's going to bring you in a few pounds is technically the one you need to focus on, and that for me is this. So I've got the parts I need over here: new speedo cable, new right side panel, hopefully it's the right one, I haven't quite checked yet. And in this bag should be indicator switch, I did need that. The other one's there, but it's a bit broke, and the actual speedo drive for the wheel. So I need to get this bike up in the air, and I need to do bits and pieces. I think probably pop the wheel off, put the new speedo drive on, pop the wheel back on. That's kind of step one, and then all of the front needs to come off a touch. Side panels are a bit of a pain to put on without popping the front off a bit, and sometimes getting the cable down is a bit of a pain, so this needs to come off as well. So a few bits to do. Now it's an evening, the sun is out now and the light is better of an evening, so I can do an hour or two, and that will save me from rushing around on Saturday, because I want to get this MOT'd on Saturday. It starts, runs and rides beautifully, so I want it to be ready, MOTable, and then I'll do, you know, a few more bits and pieces of polishing up. I definitely want some high temp paint for the exhaust. They look so much better when they've been painted black. And actually the bike, forget the seat part, but the bike is looking not bad at all at this stage. So let's get the top popped off, let's get the wheel in the air, and get the new speedo drive on ready for the cable, and we'll get the few bits done. So new drive's on. Make sure you locate it. There's actually a locating lug on the fork, there it is, and it slots in between, so make sure you locate it when you put it on. I have made the mistake in the past of not, and it can spin. The compression should sort it out enough, but you do need to locate it anyway. Next part is more of a pain than you'd think, actually. Technically I need to pull this panel forward a touch, but if I remember rightly, that involves pulling this panel off. And in here there's screws as well, so I think I need to kind of play around a little bit to remember exactly how that goes. Just pop off what you can for now. Undo any screws you see. I'm going to undo the top panel. This is going to be a stage for me to look at the dot 4 and how high it is when I'm in there. There's a hole there, but I like to pop the lid off and just have a little look. So lots of screws to be undone at the moment. And then one of the toughest things to do is reroute the cable. It goes down quite a small slot, so I need to make sure I'm careful when doing that. There's been times where I've got so frustrated over this, getting it through the right place. These metal tabs don't help. I like to try and take the metal tab off so that feeding it is easier. So I'm going to take that metal tab off, and probably off the new one as well, to make sure I can feed it through. And in the past I've taped them together to feed it through, but that doesn't always work. But for now I need this forward a little bit, because I need to put the side panels on anyway, and then I need to kind of feed the cable all the way down. So today it wasn't too bad. The cable fed up well. I didn't even consider, it did, it snapped, right. I was going to say I didn't even consider that the old cable might be okay, but it clearly had snapped at the bottom, and of course it did, because it was ruined. So new cable's up and in at the top. A bit fiddly with the nut in the way for the headset, but it's fine, it works. And then the bottom is just a screw on. What you do need to be a bit wary of is that you're locating this. It needs to slide in properly, otherwise, if not, look, that's not going in. So you've got to turn it, there you go, until it slots in, because that's how it works, isn't it? It locates. Screw that on, and then at this stage, you'd be really silly not to start the bike and run it and check that it is engaging up here. You have to, you'd be silly not to. So I'm going to pop this off because it's hanging loose, and just take it, probably not even on the road, just around here. As long as I see it turn a little bit, then I know it's doing what it needs to be doing. So that's kind of what I'm going to do here now, so that we know we're good. And then next step, while we're up here, we need to get the switch in. It's actually a pop-out switch, so you can just pop it out this way. Normally you have to kind of put your hand in and squeeze it out. So I might need to pull all this back to get it in. But once it's in, it's absolutely fine. But next step, check that that is doing the speed. You don't need it for MOT. You can have no speedo at all. You don't need speedo for MOT. But I like to have it on these bikes when it's a fairly simple system. The forks came out so much better. I can't show you a before right now, but you saw it not long ago. They just look clean and neat and looked after, so that's great news. Once the wheels have had a good clean, that will look even better. And on rare occasions in the past, these belly pans were always cheap plastic and not painted. In the past I've painted them black, but it's a lot of effort for little kind of outcome. They're right at the bottom, but you can. But I haven't. And actually in the past I've also painted these black as well. So black, 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 and you kind of tie it all in more. But I'm not going to on this occasion. So let's check the speedo in this area. We only need to see it rise to like 5 miles an hour. We'll know it's working if we see it do something. Yeah, that works perfectly well. Idle's a bit high. I'm going to pop under the seat, lower the idle a touch. I think the choke's off now, so I'm going to put the idle down a little bit at this stage, although it's only been on for 1 minute. So I'll give it 30 more seconds, and then I'll get under there and lower it a touch. So the idle's a touch high, and I looked at all of the cable routing and stuff, and that's all good. The only thing I can see, don't worry about a little bit of smoke, I was spraying, I was testing the seals. The only thing I can see is on the bottom of here, because I've checked, if you check for air leaks, that's what would make it run a little bit, you know, with the revs high. So if you look on the slide here at the bottom, there's kind of some sort of watch underneath. See that metal there? That's some sort of repair. I've not seen that on other bikes before, and that's stopping it kind of settle. So I think technically it's fine for MOT, but technically one of the things I'll need to do on Saturday before advertising it for sale basically will be to pop the carb off and file that down, so that we're then adjusting on the adjuster here, because my assumption is that the adjuster works. Let me just check that the adjuster does push it down, because if not it would explain. If the adjuster's working, which it is, it? I can't tell now. Let me see. It appears to be. Then we definitely don't. Yeah. Right. So the adjuster's adjusting it. So we definitely don't need it to have the extra adjustment on the bottom. That's a bit of a bodge fix for no obvious reason, but we need to take off a tiny bit of that metal underneath, so that we're then adjusting the throttle position from here. That's fine, that's easily done, we'll deal with that. It's good that we spotted it at this stage. So now we need to be looking at the indicator stem. So it's here, look. And actually this one technically works, but the MOT guys won't particularly like that because it hasn't got its end piece on. They won't be overly happy with that. And it's a plug and play part, as long as I ordered the right part. And then we want to get our side panels on here and there, just to kind of neaten it up. So good, a few little bits there to do, but nothing shocking, nothing out of the ordinary, all absolutely sensible bits. What I will do at some stage is check the oil, drop the oil if needed, put some fresh in. Maybe even check the air filter. I think I've got spares actually. Just the basics on this bike before getting it out of the door. 850 to £1,000 in London. This Piaggio Fly 125, because it is a Piaggio, it is low mileage, and all the Deliveroo people are all looking for decent kind of bikes. And that's London's a good market for them at the moment, so that's kind of what we do. Right, let me see if I can get the indicator stem on and then start pulling apart the front so I can put the side panels on. So front side panels are on. It was just as I said, so you just kind of pull the panel forward, get your hands in there and get them on. They're great, they're doing their job. It just makes it look like a more cared for bike. A bike that's really uncared for looking, you can make it look much more cared for in little bits and pieces you do like that. They're like £10 each, and the bike came out the factory like that, so it should be like that. So that's good. So we've got Speedo drive now working, we've got the side panels on, all of this section is done and back together. Indicator switch, so that's in here like I said earlier, it's at the back, it's here at the top there. So I do think I'm going to undo some of the bolts to be able to pull this back. I think it's this one and this one down here. Pull this back, pop all that out, put the new one in, and hopefully that's good to go. Let me just check that the new one has the same, looks the same. Yeah, one moment. Let me just double check that. Yeah, should be fine. Alright, well there's only one way to find out really, isn't there? Let's get it off. So before you actually put your switch in properly, hook it up to the wire, ignition on, and check that it's doing what it should be doing. So we're looking for left, good, and right, good, and you press it and it goes off. Look, press it and it goes off. So that's a great fix there already. So all these little bits that you wouldn't think too much about, we're fixing, and we're making this a better bike. I love when these kind of bikes come together. Right, carrying on, I'm going to get this kind of bolted back together, because what I want, my aim, is to have this bike ready to ride to MOT on Saturday, so that I can get it advertised Saturday evening. So I set out to do everything I wanted to do. We have a Speedo driving cable that's working. The brakes, I gave them a quick clean and service actually, and put them back on. All of this work's done. Just a bit of a clean and a shine, nothing major at all. Let's get some pre-MOT inspections going. I'll fire it up because it needs to just warm itself up. Anyway, let's start with a horn. Lovely, it's got a horn. Rear light naturally, yes. Brake light front, good. Brake light rear, good. Front, high, low, high, low. Left indicator, good, good. Right indicator, good, good. Switch that off. Tyres are good, plenty tread on the front. Getting quite low on the back, but might scrape past. Idle's a little bit high, but we'll sort that out. And number plate light, naturally, yes. So we're looking alright here. I do need to sort out that idle, just because that'll wind me up more than anything. Let me just double look at the number plate light situation, because I'm not sure what we've got. Might have to wire one up there. I'm not quite sure. In the past I've bought little ones that you wire along. I'll double check that, and I want some high temp black paint for the exhaust to neaten it up and preserve it a bit. So good. The bike runs really well. It runs really well. Ideally I do want to get in to the Ferrier to give that a clean. It's worth doing that, guys, because the rollers square off and then they roll differently. But I'm pleased, and of course I want to get some sort of cover. I'm just going to make something, guys. So I'm going to buy something stretchy, stretch it over and make it, that's the truth, to keep it kind of neat. No point putting another 50 quid into a new cover at this stage. If the rest of it was mint, if it didn't have lots of little imperfections, then that's different. Little crack down there, you know, the stuff down there, it would be worth doing it. But it's got imperfections, so it's just a normal, everyday, usable, runnable bike. Mileage 37 kilometers, 37,000, which is what, 19,000 miles. Not bad at all. These do 65 all day long on their first piston. And that reminds me, at some point I'll check the oil as well, make sure it's at the right level. I'll see how clean looking it is, and I'll change it if I happen to have any. So at this stage I'm pleased. A good test ride will tell me kind of how it's really running. They do kind of 50 to 55 mile an hour fairly easily, standard, without any changes of rollers or variators or any tuning. So all good. Great, I'm pleased. Logbook should be here soon-ish, and that will be ready for sale.